Hi there. I'm going to make a Kydex sheath for a knife today, and my hope is to actually copy some of the shape of the knife that's there. Now on the left I have a Gerber Mark II, and that's sitting next to its Kydex sheath. And on the right I have a Spec Ops Ontario USA made, also USA made, similar to the Gerber. And it's sitting next to its sheath, which is a nylon sheath. And I have here, just recording with my cell phone here, knock things down a little bit. I have here the Kydex product, and I've traced the knife itself onto a piece of white paper, marked out increments. You see on the lower half of the video, increments that you're seeing there are 1/2 inch apart, starting 1.5 inches from the corner of the Kydex down here. And the holes that will be placed will be 5/16 from the edge. And I'm going to mark the holes by using a soldering iron with a fine point, and just basically touching each point on this piece of paper and melting a small transfer dot, melting into the Kydex slightly, and then using a drill press to finish the hole. What I've actually got here is 2 layers of Kydex being held together with a very handy quick grip made by the Vice Grip company, quick grip clamp. Yeah, very handy tool. So what we're going to do here is just go ahead and mark those out and drill them out. And then from there we're going to use Chicago screws to hold the 2 sheets of Kydex together before we start. And that way we can get them secured snugly. And then go ahead and proceed with heating of the Kydex, and then clamping it into the press. Alright, what I've got here is the same Kydex product here. I took the template off, drilled a few holes before I took it off, and secured it with the Chicago screws here on the left side. And what I did from there is, before I peeled the template off, you can see that I took a basic Sharpie marker or other magic marker type pen and drawn the outline on there. Coming over here, I've got the drill press that I'm using here. It's just a simple benchtop drill press. I've got a specific bit that I'm using here is a 7mm. Try to gain some focus here. I don't know that I'm going to get it. I've got the things in the background here, it's kind of messing me up. Alright, specific type of point here, meant for drilling plastic here. What happens there is, you see that steep point, that it prevents blowout on the bottom edge. If I turn this over, you'll see that all of these are very clean clean exits with the hole. So it's kind of nice to actually have it turning out that clean. Makes later a lot easier. You don't have to clean it up using countersink, just cleaning up the edges and the backside. So I'm going to avoid doing that, which is really nice. So after this, I'm going to actually place the blade in there and heat it up using a heat gun. It gets pretty hot, and go ahead and put it in the press. And from here, it's actually secured here on this end. Make things a lot easier. So I believe that I'll actually probably tack it in a few places and basically mimic what I have here. See, turn it this way. But towards the end, I've got a same spacing out towards the end, going down to the point, and then 1/2 inch increments all the way up to the handle, as you can see. So, alright, so that's what we got there, and we'll see you in the next clip. Alright, so what we're looking at here is a semi-molded Kydex sheath for the knife that we're putting in here, and you can see the handle coming out here. What I've got going on is just that basically on both sides I'm going to have a flat side and a molded side, and one side will rest against your leg, or if you have it on a pack strap, it'll rest against there quite evenly. And I'm just using this Wagner Power Stripper heat gun with an attachment on it for helping direct the heat into a more nozzle-like flow. And earlier I told you about this drill bit. That's actually a 5mm bit, not 7mm. It does need a small amount of reaming with a round file. A chainsaw file will do the trick, or other round files available at your hardware store. But I'm going through this. If you don't have a press for Kydex, don't sweat it. We just heat it up, crank her down a little bit, and heat it up some more. I'm just using a cotton shirt here as a heat shield, and I'm forming this with my thumbs. And you might see a slight divot here about center screen, if we can gain our focus back. A slight divot here, or an unevenness on the lower side. I'll slide my thumb in here. Slight unevenness here. I'm just going to feather the heat against that, and that'll ease back out once we start heating it up again. And we're just going to ease it up, keep cranking her down, and eventually we're going to have our friction fit here, very similar to this, to what the Gerber Mark II has. Try to get us on a good contrast here, but that's a pretty good grip in here. I'm really sorry about the focus. But this is a great friction fit. It's a tough enough tug that it's not going to fall out by accident or have a an accidental pullout. Leaving enough yet to tug by. That's going to be the same story with this one here. We're going to have this guy here fitting quite nicely, coming out, and we're just going to go ahead and keep cranking that. Now this one here is flat on the back, I mentioned. This one here is symmetrical. Both sides are formed, and that's from using a press. You can actually see the contour of the blade against that. So, and there you go. Going to the next frame. Alright, I'm at a point here where I'm actually forming the Kydex up around the grip here of the knife. And I'm using a rolled up section of the t-shirt I showed you earlier. It's just cotton. And I'm going up and using it as a heat shield, and I'm heating by region the portions on the Kydex that I need to form. Let me try to back this off a little bit here. So as I go, I just blow the heat gun on there, back and forth, feather it, and as it softens, I grab onto the heat shielding cotton here and form it with my thumbs. I'm getting a very even form here. Now this is the back side, which I'm leaving flat. That'll ride against your hip if you're gonna mount it on your side, or if it's gonna be on a pack strap. And this is the outside, which you can see where I'd formed all the way up and down here along the blade itself. It's very smooth. I showed you earlier that there was a slight, it might have been here, a slight dimple in the plastic in the Kydex, and I went ahead and heated that out. It just lifted right out. And right up here is you form it right along the handle here. Grip it just a little bit and pinch it down, and that's how you get your friction fit. Now this knife is my hope here is to fit it within here so that this could hang upside down on a pack. Let me try to get a little bit. I'll show you my chimney here, but I have a lot of trouble focusing with this particular camera here. But my intention here is to get a completely snug fit where this knife could hang inverted with the handle down and not fall out even under rough conditions. So we're going to go ahead and give it a test. Not on screen here, but I'm going to check it. And you can still see where I use the Sharpie. This is the type of tool I'm using to form the actual shape. So I'm gonna go ahead and run that and just you know, you like the sound effect, and then smooth it up with this 320 grit belt right there. But this is a 120 grit. This is 320 grit. So it's going to smooth out real nice, and I might even go over it once with the polishing wheel from my Dremel tool, rotary tool, just to give it a fine finished appearance along the edges here. And we'll take a look at it when it's done here. Alright, we got her mostly finished up here, and it's all contoured on one side here, flat on the back. inserted my Chicago screws to kind of finish it off. And nice finishing touch, if you're into aesthetics, you can rotate the female side of the screw so that you can get all your screw heads turned the same direction. Not a big deal. Sometimes you can even get Phillips Chicago screws and it won't even reveal it, or an Allen head Chicago screw, which will they actually look very nice. It's a pretty good friction fit, and the blade is able to be fully protected. And actually the next hope is to install a belt clip for a shoulder strap belt on a pack, which will allow this to be mounted vertically. And one thing you ought to see here is that we can get a focus on this. Alright, this helps it a little bit. Right here, right at the tip of my forefinger here, I have a small hole right here. I just inserted a small piece of rod steel and heated it up. This will act as a weep hole. If you put your blade away wet, it should aid in the dripping process if your blade is mounted on your belt. Otherwise, this way it's going to completely run out this side if you get it wet. So this is a carbon blade, and I will be keeping it waxed or oiled, hopefully. This is for another person. So, but there you have it, Kydex sheath. Alright, the sheath is completed here, and as you can see, I have mounted it vertically in an inverted position on a backpack strap here, and it's connected via the D-ring at the top of the backpack strap, or an accessory ring. Your little voice back there, but it's shoot up just like a shoelace, bootlace, held around, friction fit, total draw, ease of accessibility. You can even put it back in while I'm holding the phone here. Video goes in pretty tight. Next test is going to be if it will fall out during a drop or any other type of maneuvering. So we'll see how that goes.